I'm going to give you the answer you're looking for at 2 different levels of granularity. A 60-second breakdown of my personal opinion and thoughts, and then a deeper look at genres within their single player and multiplayer confines, alongside caveats like the development roadmap and the cost of the game. If the 60 seconds is all you need, please just leave a like or maybe even a subscribe on your way out. If you were looking for one game to get right now, your options should be whittled down to Underdogs, Iron Rebellion, or Vox Machina. All 3 fall into a similar price point and are available on Steam and the Meta Store. Underdogs is single player only with multiplayer on the roadmap. Iron Rebellion is multiplayer only with single player on the roadmap. And Vox Machina delivers the full package, as well as a flat screen version when purchased on Steam. If you are looking for a multiplayer title and community, Iron Rebellion delivers in such a huge way when it comes to mech feel and gameplay that is my top choice. If you are looking for a single player title, Underdogs is at the top of my list. Even though it's a roguelike and sandbox game, there is story weaved through incredible music, art style, and voice acting. Vox Machina mech movement, in my opinion, is very sluggish, and the single player mode fails to deliver an interesting campaign. It has an incredible wealth of customizations and modes in multiplayer that end up being held back by the mech movement and lack of training available in the game. But if you are wanting to play multiplayer with flat screen friends, it's your only choice, and it isn't necessarily a bad one. There are 6 VR mech titles that I've spent time in before creating this video. All of them are available on both Steam and Meta stores, except for World of Mechs, which is 20 USD on just the Meta store. MechaForce is easily our cheapest buy at 10 USD, Big Shots is 20 USD, Iron Rebellion is 25 USD, and Underdogs and Vox Machina both land at the 30 USD price point. 3 of these games, MechaForce, Big Shots, and Underdogs, are single player only, and they are roguelikes, with Underdogs also having a sandbox mode available. MechaForce is an early access development stage at the time of this recording, so there is a decent chance that things will change with that title over time. I think that 10 USD is pretty reasonable for the experience you get, but I wouldn't suggest spending it over getting other titles in this list. With this and Underdogs, you move your hands around and then your mech responds by moving its hands in the exact same way. I think the movement is really interesting, but the maps and enemy types are underwhelming at the moment. Whereas with Underdogs, everything about the environment is absolutely incredible and top-notch. Underdogs delivers everything it promises and more. Big Shots has a phenomenal art style, but the mech movement is sluggish and killing wave enemies isn't particularly satisfying. To me, this is one of the bigger letdowns, as it really does look so good, but the gameplay isn't worth the time you spend fighting wave enemies. Both Underdogs and Big Shots have tons of customizations and replayability for their particular gameplay loop. Maybe I'm going through a bit of roguelike fatigue, but none of these 3 having actual story modes with a save structure is a little disappointing. However, you shouldn't let that overcast how good of a roguelike Underdogs is, and the potential for a multiplayer mode down the line only sweetens the deal. World of Mechs and Vox Machina are the only 2 games that deliver both single player and multiplayer modes at the time of this recording. Everything about World of Mechs generally feels pretty cheap. You feel more like you're playing a flat screen mech game than you feel like you are playing a VR mech game. And then environments are overused in the single player campaign. There is a story, but not one particularly worth following. This game does occasionally go on sale for 10 USD or so, and it could be worth picking up for a younger audience to get their VR legs. There is a multiplayer mode with some progression and lots of mech options, but similar to the single player mode, it's not really worth your time in my opinion. With Vox Machina, I was really excited to play the single player mode as it was the only one with really good promise for a VR mech campaign. However, I was incredibly disappointed. The mech movement doesn't feel natural, as weird of a sentence as that is. It's clunky and unforgiving. It feels great to shoot lasers and missiles, but the movement, dialogue, and time spent out of the mech is incredibly tedious. So much so that I almost didn't give the multiplayer a try, but I'm very happy that I did. There is a huge number of modes, mechs, weapons, and other customizations, as well as the maps are pretty awesome to be in. Unfortunately, there isn't much training on these things, and they aren't really self-explanatory because the UI hides so much potential. Because the mech usage is still a little clunky, I think that Iron Rebellion is a much better multiplayer title alongside a deep and friendly community, but Vox Machina does have a friendly community as well. And the ability to crossplay flat screen friends in Vox is a very welcomed addition. Iron Rebellion has found this perfect blend of arcade and sim controls in its mech movement, so that you always feel pretty comfortable maneuvering around when you are in medium and lightweight mechs. I think the tutorial and UI in Iron Rebellion is much better for experimenting and finding your playstyle versus what Vox has, but it is still a decent learning curve for those joining in for the very first time. Getting into fights, using abilities, and running around trying to heal is just so much fun, and the maps, modes, and customizations all support creative and enjoyable gameplay. Like I said at the beginning, I think this is the best multiplayer mech VR game by miles. It is worth noting that the devs have a flat screen mode for PC and a single player mode in their roadmap. If you want to play games like these with a great community, please feel free to join my Discord. We would love to have you. If you've been around the channel for a bit, you know I typically go into single game breakdowns at the end of these comparisons, but after writing up the last little part of that script, I think I conveyed everything that I needed to convey there. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.